guys, welcome back to our kitchen. Enjoy the recipes. Hi guys, welcome back to another recipe in our kitchen. Today I want to do up a pot roast. I'm going to make it with some carrots, some potatoes, and a pot roast is a comfort food. It's a real good dish to make. It's fairly easy. This particular pot roast has a lot of different spices in it, and it goes for about an hour in the IP. But it'll be delicious when it's done. So first thing, of course, you need is a good roast. A lot of times I use just a chuck roast, or blade roast you can use, or rump roast. Hold the jokes. In fact, today we have a rump roast. So we'll be doing the rump roast up, and it's a roast is a roast. The pot roast, the chuck roast is a little bit fattier, so you get a little bit more flavor with the fat, but then you got to deal with the fat. I usually just cut the fat out. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and make that, and we're going to use, we're going to need about a cup of broth, beef broth. You're going to need some seasoned salt, and I always use Larry's seasoned salt. You're going to need some black pepper, some garlic powder, some kosher salt, some onion powder, some rosemary. Rosemary always goes good with a roast. Some parsley flakes, and some thyme. And then I'm going to cook the carrots and the potatoes right in the same pot, so it's like a one meal deal, and it'll be really good. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and measure up our ingredients. So here we go. I got to thinking I'd just show you a quick way of how I slice the onion up. I peel it and I cut the end cap off, and then I'll slice it right down the center. And then I'll take it and just slice like this. Of course, I don't want them to fall on the floor, but they do. And again, and then just slice it again. And again. So in this particular case, you get onion petals like. And this is what we're going to use for the roast. So that when we put them in there, you get nice little petal peels like that. And this is what we want for this particular dinner. And then you can just peel them apart. Okay? Very simple. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our seasonings. What I'm going to do is mix them in a bowl, because there's a lot of different seasons that go into this one. We'll start out with our black pepper, and for that we want 2 teaspoons. You don't have to be precise. I'm going to want 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. And I'm just going to kind of, eyeball the half. Like I said, it's not rocket science. I'm also going to use 1.5 teaspoons of seasoned salt if I have that much left. And I use, like I said, Larson's. 1, 2. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of the onion powder. 1 teaspoon of the thyme, I think is it. Yep, here it is. One teaspoon of the rosemary. I don't know if I can get this in there. I might have to just pour it on. And I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of the parsley flake. Close enough. And I'm just going to simply mix all this together. And this is going to be the rub for the roast. You put it in a baggie and shake it up and get it all mixed up, or put a lid on your bowl, however you want to do it. Did I use the garlic? 1 tablespoon garlic. No, I did not, because it's brand new. 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder too. There we go. It is a lot of spices, but it'll be good. Just mix them up real well. Like so. Looks nice. Doesn't that look nice? Sure, it looks nice. Shake and bake. Okay guys, I got the rump roast laying out. And as you can see, it has a nice fat cap on it. Some people cut it off, but the fat will render down and give you a lot of flavor. So you can always cut that off after the cooking. So that's what I do, because I want to leave the flavor on there. So we're going to go ahead and put the seasoning on the roast. And you just put it on a separate plate and season it up real good. We'll try to get all the seasoning in there. Just kind of massage it in, rub it in. Get it on the sides. I'm going to use it all, so it don't matter. And this will be a lot of flavoring. So just put it in there. You might want to use a bigger plate, but we do what we do. Do the sides. Just season them up real good. Just looks something like that. There we go. And it looks nice. Okay, meanwhile, our Instant Pot has been getting warm. And what we're going to do is go ahead and put some oil in the pot. I like using olive oil, but I'm out of it now, so I'm just going to use regular vegetable oil. But if you have it, use olive oil. Wait for it to get hot, then pour maybe 2 tablespoons in there. Just enough to coat it. And if you wait for it to get hot, it supposedly won't stick for you. But now we're going to take our roast, and we are going to put it into the Instant Pot to sear each side. Now I don't know if you can see that, so let me move in here. But that's what you want. You want to drop it right in that Instant Pot and let it sear up. Probably about a minute on each side. So So I'll go ahead and just set a timer. And I'll just sprinkle my leftover seasoning right in there too, because that's all good stuff right there. Okay, now there's our minute. Flip it over. Reset your timer for another minute. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but it's crusted up pretty good. So we're going to let that side crust up, the next other side crust up too. Alright, so the second side has now been in there for a minute. I'm going to try to go ahead and sear it on the ends just for a minute. I might have to hold it. Let me go ahead and see if I can flip this bad boy around. There we go. Now we got the sides. And then after that, we'll go ahead and deglaze it. So I'm thinking it's been seared on all sides. We're going to go ahead and take it out, put it on a plate. It looks pretty good. And now if you take a look in here real quick, you'll see the goodness in the bottom of the pan. We're going to go ahead and deglaze that with about a tablespoon of butter before it burns. Use a wooden spoon to try to get it all up. It's going too fast, so I'm going to have to put a little bit of beef broth in there to help deglaze it a little bit quicker. You don't want to burn it. There we go. Now we're trying to get all the bits off the bottom of the IP. Because that's all bits of goodness. And now I got to hit the saute button again. And add my final deglazing agent, about a half a cup. Got a little smoky in here. So hopefully I won't be setting off any smoke alarms. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish deglazing this. And your pot will probably look a little bit like that. And you can skip the wine if you want, it doesn't matter. Just use water. It works to deglaze it. The butter will, if you don't get it out right away, it'll tend to smoke and burn. So you have to work quick and have some liquid on hand to keep it from setting off your smoke detectors. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and take the onions and put them in there and let the onions saute. Put them all in there. Let's take a look. There they are. And we'll just kind of stir them around. Now our goal with the onion is to soften them up but not burn them. But get them nice and brown. Kind of a saute. About 2 minutes or so. Okay, it's been about maybe 4 or 5 minutes that I've been sauteing these onions. And they're nice and soft, and they're pretty well covered. So I think we can call that done. Here's what they look like. So now we're going to go ahead and prepare the rest of the meal. I'm going to go take this off a saute. So I'll just hit cancel. Okay, the onions look good. One thing I forgot to say or add was a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, which we're out of right now, and I think it's about a tablespoon. So I'm just going to throw a tablespoon of A1 in there. But Worcestershire sauce is what you really want. Looks good. Now I'm also going to go ahead and get my vegetables ready at this time. I've got my carrots and my potatoes. And I'm going to put them in aluminum foil because this thing is going to cook for a while and you don't want them to turn to mush. So get them in some aluminum foil. Like that. Like you'd roll up a burrito. And your vegetables are ready. Now we're going to go back to the pot. And we're going to take our trivet. Drop it in there. I'm going to add the rest of my beef broth, which is a full can or about a cup and a half, maybe 2. Whenever you cook with an IP, you want at least a cup of water in there, or you'll get the dreaded burn. I'm going to pour that in. And I'm going to add a cup of water. For good measure. So you got about a cup and a half, 2 cups of beef broth and a cup of water in there. That pretty well covers up to the bottom of the trivet. Okay? We're going to take our meat and put it right back in there, fat side up, because you want that fat to render down as it cooks. I'm going to go ahead and place our vegetables in there, right on top. And remember, there is a line in there that says as far as you can go, and we're about right there. So now we're going to put the lid on it and cook this baby for about an hour. So go ahead and take it up to an hour. Make sure your seal is closed. And that's it. We're ready to go. We just gotta wait. Okay, our hour just ended, so we're gonna let it come down to a natural pressure release for about 15 minutes, and then we'll kick it off. So, 15 more minutes, we'll take a look. Okay, we got our 15-minute natural pressure release, and I always recommend letting it just do a natural release. I think it makes for tender meat, but in this case it's pushing 7 o'clock. We're all getting hungry, and 15 minutes is a good long time. So I'm going to go ahead and do a forced release now by taking it and releasing the pressure. And while that finishes, I'm going to make the slurry to thicken up the gravy. And that's a simple process. I'll make it over here. And it's pretty much 1-to-1. So I'm just going to use 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of the cornstarch and 3 tablespoons of water. I'll go ahead and stir that so that the consistency becomes proper. It starts out pretty thick, but you want to make it so that it's nice and smooth, no lumps, so that it becomes a fine slurry, and this will thicken up our juice, make for a nice gravy. So now we just wait. Okay, the pin just dropped. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. There's always some water in the lid, so be careful. And that's what we're looking at. So I'll go ahead and remove our vegetables and put the meat on a platter to carve it up. There's the meat out on the platter. Going to let it cool down. And in the meantime, we're going to take the Instant Pot with all the juice in it and put it on saute and add our slurry and make ourselves a nice gravy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and carve some of this meat. That was the end cap of fat. Which I mentioned earlier that you leave on so you can get a lot of flavor. Now you always cut against the grain. The grain seems to be running this way, so we'll go ahead and cut it this way. I also have my gravy going, so I have to stop periodically to stir it. There's your pot roast, carved up real nice. I'll sit down and serve up the plate and we'll take a look at the finished product. Okay, it's done. We're at the dinner table and I got my plate made up. Here's what it looks like. Enjoy.